Shalom. I'm going to start off by giving all glory, praises, and honor unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the brothers that's teaching us truth and sincerity. And shalom to the hopeful elect and the 1/3. Alright, sincere listeners. Today's lesson is going to be based off of this article. It says, Group of police officers files constitutional challenge over Ontario pandemic rules. You know what I mean? And here you have conflict within Esau's kingdom, man. But really, it's Esau against Esau, right? You know, mainly all these, for the most part, most of these police officers are Edomites. You know, and obviously you have some that are Jake and other nations, but you know, mainly Edomites always protesting, man, because this is their kingdom, right? And they have rights. You know what I mean? So to speak. It says Toronto, a group of active and retired police officers from several forces has launched a legal challenge over Ontario's pandemic orders, alleging that enforcing the rules requires officers to breach their oath to uphold the Constitution. Okay. Notice of the constitutional challenge was filed late last month on behalf of 19 officers, including 2 Toronto officers currently facing an internal police investigation for allegedly breaching restrictions on social gatherings. Alright. The civil action targets Ontario Premier Doug Ford, Ontario's Attorney General, 5 police chiefs, as well as federal officials. The claim, which has not been tested in court, seeks a number of declarations, including that religious services and protests are exempt from rules on gatherings, and that lockdowns and stay-at-home orders are a form of martial law, which the province does not have jurisdiction to enact. Wow. See, even I didn't know that. So pretty much, martial law, they're pretty much saying that it's a federal thing. Martial law should only be declared out here, pretty much. You know what I mean? The province does not have the, they don't have the pretty much the jurisdiction to enact, like it says. Alright? What else? Also, the point that being made is including that religious services and protests are exempt from rules. And that can go for us as the brothers that are here in Ontario, Toronto to be exact, that where we hold camp outdoors, right? And right now we're on stay-at-home order, stay-at-home lockdown, or whatever, lockdown orders, so we don't have camp outside anymore, man. Okay. And but yeah, that could work in our favor, but obviously we don't really, it's whatever the Most High wants, man. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, man, we preach outside the Lord permits, man, but really and truly, famine of the words coming on, the fact that we're inside, man, that's a heavy sign, man. You know, that the famine of the word is coming, man, because when you don't see the prophets, man, that's going to be a problem. And in that day, you're going to be looking for the men of the Lord that had the answers, and you're going to be wanting to know, but you're not going to have the time. But it's going to be too late, I should say. It says it also wants the court to declare that restrictions on interprovincial travel violate the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and thus compel officers to breach their oath. Wow, man. Oh, trouble in paradise, eh? Talk about trouble in paradise. You know what I mean? The action also seeks an order that police supervisors, politicians, and public health officials stop interfering with officers' discretion in applying and enforcing the law. Wow, so they're getting pressure from above, but they don't even, all these, it's almost like these politicians are the new police in a sense, right? But they don't even understand how police works. So for them to, and so they feel like because they're in quote unquote authority, that the police are just gonna, follow what they say. Mind you, they don't know the intricacies of the job. All right, their job is different than that of a police officer. All right, and what the duties of a police officer, they have specific training on how to conduct and enforce the law. Right. So then, when you have somebody else, opposing force, telling you how to enforce the law, that's not even in your field of work, then it becomes a problematic, right, and confusing. So obviously, this is the issue that they're having now, right? um, it says Rocco Jalati, the lawyer representing the group, said he believes the action is the first of its kind in Canada. To my knowledge, this is the first time that police officers have actually gone to court against the legislative and executive branch of the government, saying that the laws that are being asked and are under a duty to enforce, in fact, violate not only their oath and their duty and their office, but the Constitution, he said in a recent news conference. So that's how you know a lot of the stuff that these politics or Doug Ford's coming up with, and whoever else politicians are coming up with, man. It's really draconian laws, man. And I've been said this, but Canada is a communist country, man. You know what I mean? And if you look at Canada, who flocks to Canada? Who has no problem coming to Canada? Moabites, all right? You so-called Chinese. A lot of Chinese come to Canada, right? Because they're under a communist rule, man. And they're under heavy communist rule. So when they come here, man, this is nothing, man. This is a walk in the park, right? We've got the illusion that we were free because our south of us is America, and pretty much they're all about so-called freedom, right? And you can see the way the Americans live, so to speak. They're definitely way more quote unquote free than how Canadians are, right? Especially now that we're on severe lockdowns and America is still open like nothing, man. You know what I mean? What? That's all the will of the Most High, right? Everywhere's gonna have the judgment, and everywhere's gonna have their time, and America's really safe for that. But nonetheless, we are under more of a communist rule now, and they're not trying to say it. They're not trying to come out and say this is communism, but this is how. But they're being, but it is, right? Just call it how it is. In China, they don't play that shit. They're telling you this is communism. Here, they're telling you, oh, you're free, da da da, but stay at home. Foolishness, right? You can keep going, man. This is a pretty good article. Jalati said the officers, 15 of them active and 4 retired, want the court to clarify their role in applying the rules, which he argues are too vague and broad and aren't clear enough to enforce uniformly and fairly. He alleged officers who speak out against the rules are ostracized. York Regional Police Constable Christopher Van den Bos, who was one of the plaintiffs, said the obligation to enforce the rules has created a rift in police ranks. The divide that we're seeing is very visible, he said during the news conference. A spokesman for Ontario Ministry of the Attorney General said the province was served with the notice of application on April 29. Ontario's position is that the application is entirely without merit, and it is asking the court to summarily dismiss it. Brian Gray said in an email statement. Toronto police spokeswoman Alison Sparks confirmed the force was aware of the legal proceedings. The Toronto Police Service position is that the provincial emergency legislation is lawful. The service expects its officers to carry out their lawful duties and enforce the law, she said in a statement. The Toronto Police Association, which represents thousands of officers on the force, said it cannot comment directly on the matter, but that the service is trying to navigate the pandemic as best as they possibly can. We know that members of the police service are forced with an entirely new challenge: how to further public safety through the enforcement of local stay-at-home orders. We will watching this closely and hope we can have further dialogue in the future, and our comments will not impact any court dealings. Said the Hamilton and Niagara police force said they would not. Alright, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Yeah, you got the idea though. All trouble in paradise, man. You know what I mean? So you see what's going on, man. Esau's kingdom's crumbling, division. You know, and you know what I'm about to get. Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Alright, and that's what's going on now. Alright, yeah, pretty much, Esau going against Esau, man, because all these laws that are being made and all that stuff is Esau who creates them, and then Edomites follow them. But then you have Edomites that go against them. It's like that's the problem here, right? And Yahushua, verse 26, and if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? So then, this is the spirit of the Most High bringing out these problems, right? The prophecy fulfilling itself. So you got to think of it on a spiritual level. All you have to do when you're in this truth, or you believe in this truth, man, just do your video, do what's required of you from the Most High. All right, just do your videos. This is not a carnal thing, man. This is pretty much telling you that this kingdom's gonna fall on its own, and this shit ain't got nothing to do with us. All right, we were just reading the words of the Bible. That's it. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, that's pretty much the point. I'm just gonna leave it at that, and I hope you're edified. Straight to the point for this one.